got to be the least surprising breaking news tweet Shams Charania has ever put together. Coach Mike Budenholzer is out after finishing 11th. Still crazy. 11th in the Western Conference with a 36-46 record. We all saw this. The writing was on the wall. Things were not looking good. I mean, they had an opportunity, and it's still crazy to me that they missed the postseason completely. But they had all the opportunity in the world to at least make the 10th seed. You think about, hey, reminder, the Dallas Mavericks traded away Luka Doncic. And not only did they trade away Luka Doncic, the person they traded him for played 2 quarters before he went out with a major injury. In the midst of all of that, Kyrie Irving also went out with a major injury. So the Dallas Mavericks are just not looking good. Their 2 star players are just gone. And the Phoenix Suns are completely healthy, and they still couldn't catch up to the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks, some games, best player was Kai Jones. Other games, it was Brandon Williams. And no disrespect to those dudes, because I truly do believe those are real NBA players. But I'm just trying to showcase to you that the Suns not even catching up with the Dallas Mavericks is a travesty. And I will go down to say that this current Phoenix Suns team is one of the most disappointing regular season teams in recent history. And that is saying a lot, because I would remind you, last year's Phoenix Suns team was hella disappointing too. I think it gets lost through time, but going into the 2023-2024 season, the Suns were tied for the 3rd best odds to win the whole goddamn thing. They underachieved. They were a good regular season team and got to the postseason and got absolutely stomped by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Them boys didn't catch a game. It got so bad that Kevin Durant, who had been talking bad about Rudy Gobert and in Rudy Gobert's face in regular season games, went to the podium and said, damn, that dude Rudy Gobert is pretty good, huh? That's how disappointed they were. But me, being an idiot, saw that and saw the changes they made going into the season. I was not a guy, if you go back and watch the video, I did not believe the Suns were a championship quality team, but I thought that because of their offseason, they had the things that could help them become a really good regular season team. Let me break it down for you. In that postseason, they just felt like they needed new coaching. You saw that, and the guy that they brought in was Coach Mike Budenholzer. And one thing you can agree with, or at least we used to be able to agree with, Coach Mike Budenholzer was a great floor raiser for a lot of different teams. He comes into an organization, and immediately they become better than they were before. I saw it, I was like, boom, that should help. Frank Vogel went into the league office, or the office of the Phoenix Suns, and said, Jones, bro, I need a point guard. Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are great at what they do, but we desperately need a real point guard. In this offseason, they got 2 real point guards. They got Tyus Jones. They got Monte Morris. And I don't want to act like those dudes are superstar level guards, but given what the Phoenix Suns were looking for, a guy that could just set up the other star players, those dudes are perfect. Tyus Jones doesn't turn the ball over. He's a facilitator. He does all of that. I want to say shout out to Tyus. He took a hell of a chance. And you know, the whole Fred VanVleet bet on yourself works out for Fred VanVleet or Jimmy Butler. It didn't work out for Tyus Jones, who turned down more money to go to the Suns because it was a better opportunity to showcase, hey, I can be a winner. And eventually he lost his starting spot, and I don't know what the hell happens with Tyus Jones next. But they brought in real point guard play. They brought in the coach who probably fit, in my mind going into the season, fit better with the team. And none of that even mattered. It got so bad that once we got to around January, I had just neglected the Phoenix Suns. Things were already bad. I could have put together 13 Suns videos talking about how disappointing the stretch had been. And I just didn't, because I didn't enjoy watching them play. They have some of my favorite players of all time in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and I didn't enjoy watching them. It is insane to think about. This Phoenix Suns team had a worse record than the fucking Chicago Bulls. And it's not even just record. They had a worse net rating than the Spurs, who lost Wemby in February, than the Trailblazers, than the Bulls. Like, this is just so disappointing. So when I say that it was the least surprising breaking news of all time, yes, it is. And I'm hoping that this is not just the start or the finish of what's going on in Phoenix, because they need real changes immediately. Devin Booker has been in the league for 11 seasons now. He's had 8 coaches in 11 seasons. I want to say that again. He has had 8 coaches in 11 seasons. And he's about to get another. That is ridiculous to think about. The only form of stability Devin Booker had was a 3-year stretch where Monty Williams was the coach. Before that, between Earl Watson, Igor, Jay Triano, who else? Frank Vogel, and now Coach Bud, the man has never really had any form of consistency. And now you think about who the Suns are and what's about to go on. Everybody, just like it was not surprising that Coach Bud got fired, it is not about to be surprising when Kevin Durant gets traded. Now, we're not even just talking at this point. Kevin Durant, if we look at Kevin Durant's tweets, which is shout out to KD, he always giving us content. Let's go read his tweets recently. Oh, Kevin. I had bookmarked this, Kevin. He deleted the tweet. Somebody have to have a screenshot or something. Give me a second. But Kevin Durant had tweeted this. Was this yesterday? Yesterday, and it's gone now. So I got to find somebody that got receipts. Reddit is an awful place and like in a vacuum, but boy, do they always got the receipts. So Aaron says, because you dribbled 20 times, created more opportunities for double teams and turning the ball over. They're talking about some basketball stuff here. But Kevin Durant comes back with 3 turnovers in 36 minutes a game. 20 dribbles is an over-exaggeration, but I've learned Suns fans do that when they want to prove a point about how much they want me off the team. Cameron comes in and says, man, we don't want you off the team, Slim, but what other options we got? We can't run it back, and you'll get us the best return, respectfully. And he said respectfully. Shook the hand. So the tweet that Kevin Durant did delete was the one that he was talking about. Suns fans do this. And he probably was like, you know what? That's probably not the smartest thing to say. But damn it, Kevin, it's 55,000 people that already saw it. And I saw it too. And then these people saw it. But the respectfully, recognizing that, yeah, this is probably over. Not even just that. Shams Charania also put out that, we're about to see at the beginning of the summer major changes that would include working with Kevin Durant and his business partner, Rich Kleiman, on a trade. So it is an inevitability at this point that Kevin Durant will be traded and Coach Bud is out. And then the conversation, if we're just strictly talking about the coaching for a second here, is like, what's next as a coach, right? We did just see 2 really at least good NBA coaches get fired. But I want to remind you, the coaches that you just got rid of. You just got rid of coaches with championship resumes. You got rid of coaches who were widely seen before they took your damn job as good hires. So you're trying to tell me we're going to fire two championship coaches in Vogel and Bud and now bring in Mike Malone? Just continuing that recipe? Or are you going to bring in, Taylor Jenkins don't got no championship, but widely considered a good NBA coach? That doesn't make sense to me. So maybe the next iteration of the Suns coaching job is somebody without that type of resume. You take a shot on a Joe Mazzulla, or not specifically Joe Mazzulla's type, a guy that's been on the benches behind the head coach for years and now has this level of acknowledgement or knowledge for the game or whatever. You go like the young route, but boy, have they tried that, where they went overseas to get Igor and it was it was nasty. So I guess we got to wait and see what Coach James or GM James Jones ends up doing. But hey, maybe James Jones is gone. He did a really phenomenal job building that Phoenix Suns team with with Chris Paul and Devin Booker and McHale. And we get to Jay Crowder's, Cam Johnson's, DeAndre Ayton. That team was magnificent. I actually missed that team. I took it for granted, even though my boy Chris Paul was on that team. He did an amazing job there. That's kind of it. You look at the history of their draft picks and him publicly saying that they don't really give a damn about draft picks. And you look at some of the other teams that are competing on a year-to-year basis where they care about the draft picks. Even if it is the 30th overall pick, the 42nd overall pick, they genuinely care about getting the right talent in the door. I did think that they drafted relatively well this season with Ryan Dunn and also Iguodala. But other than that, just their history of drafting and trading on draft night is just straight up nasty. Getting back to the Kevin Durant thing. Has not obviously been great. And, the one guy saying that you're the person that can get us back the best return respectfully, I just don't know how true that is. We've had a lot of great trades and huge trades in recent NBA history. Hell, Kevin Durant was a part of a trade just 2 years ago. But given where the Suns are and the little amount of leverage they may have in these trades, what they gave up to get Kevin is not even going to be close to what they get in return. That's my speculation. What they can only hope for is one of these younger, decent teams flame out of the playoffs really early, and they give another GM a little fire under his ass to go get a guy like Kevin Durant to put the thing together. And what we are recognizing across hoops is that majority of GMs are just smarter now than 10 years ago. Hell, even smarter now than 4 years ago. Everybody's getting smarter and smarter and smarter. You have to be smarter given the constraints you have with the CBA and the second apron and all of these things. So I just like when Kevin Durant eventually does get traded, I won't be surprised if we all look at that trade package and be like, that's it, right? It ain't going to be Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, all the first round picks. It ain't going to be that type of package for Kevin Durant this time around. And the only other option outside of trading Kevin is making the decision to trade Devin. And I hate that idea. I love singular team guys. I always have. And by all accounts from Matt Ishbia and the people up top, Devin Booker is not even available. But I do think you have to have that conversation, right? again, one of those teams flame out and they're giving you a call, you have to take the call. You have to listen to the offer. You have to. Again, I hope that he doesn't get traded, but it would be malpractice, in my personal opinion, to not at least pick up the phone and give it some consideration. Speaking of malpractice, let's get to Matt Ishbia. Because other than him lowering ticket prices and sending antennas to the locals and, lowering the price of in-arena food and all of that stuff, this is a great idea of what you should not do when you first buy a team. Some of the quotes that he has had over the last 2 years still completely blow my mind. What is the exact quote? Was it 29 other teams? Let's see. Matt Ishbia. 29 other teams. Was it 29 other teams? 26! I'm sorry, 26 of them would trade their whole team for our team and our draft picks, everything as is. That was a goddamn lie. Because, being a bad team or a disappointed team, there's levels to it when as far as fandom goes, right? I think there are a lot of tormented teams in the team fan bases in the NBA. But when you think about some of these teams, like the Jazz being bad, again, they know what they're doing, right? They have a goal. They're trying to achieve that goal. The Pelicans didn't come into the season with that goal in mind, but about 2 months in, they put it together. That's the goal. The Spurs end up losing Wemby. The Trailblazers have the goal. Then you get to the Suns, where the thing that these teams have, hope for the future, right? The Jazz, hopefully, fingers crossed, can win the first overall pick at Cooper Flag. The Pelicans, they just got a new guy in. Joe Dumars is back. Joe Dumars ain't been GM or basketball ops guy for 12 years or so. He's finally back, and we'll see what he ends up doing differently than what Griffin was up to. The Spurs obviously have Wemby, and the Trailblazers have a young team with their own draft pick. Even if we go out west, all of these teams towards the bottom, other than I would say the 76ers, feel like there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Because you don't own any of your own first-round picks, and because you don't know who your coach is, or because you don't trust your owner, or because you don't trust your GM, the Suns are just one of those tormented teams right now. And then you ask yourself, okay, let's do it. Let's ask 29 other GMs who would switch spots with Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns. I don't know if it's one. I don't know if there's one GM that's like, yep, I would rather take what the Suns got going on rather than them. And that's saying something. They got Devin, they got Kevin right now. Right? I just don't see it. What other team could it be? Even a team that put off one of the most idiotic trades in NBA history, they're like, you could convince yourself that is still a better roster and a better organization than what the hell the Suns got going on. And then you get to the other quote talking about he doesn't understand a rebuild. And even if we lose this year, next year, we're going to try to be better. And it's like, I think the sentiment makes sense, right? Like, there are teams throughout NBA history that didn't go the traditional rebuilding route and turn themselves into really good competitive teams and championship quality teams. It's just, I don't know, the feel of the quote. Yeah, what these other 22 teams did to be good, they tripping. You feel me? I don't understand why the OKC Thunder traded Paul George for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and 13 first-round picks. I don't understand that work. I don't understand it. I don't understand when the Celtics traded away some of the greatest players in their franchise history to get a reset. I don't understand it, even though it gave them Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It is just really like a slap in the face to the other GMs across basketball and the other organizations, because every single one of these teams that we look at being good, the Houston Rockets went through, a 4 or 5 year rebuild, and now they have young, exciting talent with a great coach. That rebuild was very, very necessary. Even the Lakers, who post-Kobe went on their rebuilding thing, and then eventually they got Bron and used the young players that they got in their post-Kobe rebuild to trade for Anthony Davis and use that to win a championship and to trade Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. All of these teams have gone through their route of doing the whole rebuild, take a couple years back to get some draft capital and get our equity up that way. Matt Ishbia is like, no, there's a 0% chance we do that because I don't understand it. And Matt Ishbia is an NBA or basketball guy, right? He played at Michigan State. Like, he knows basketball. He's played D1 basketball at the bare minimum. It's not like he's like the Dumont family over in Dallas that don't know anything about hoops. He knows hoops. He's been watching hoops. So for him to even say that, specifically when you look at his goddamn roster and the lack of success they've had under him, I feel like it really just is a slap in the face to everybody. But it's a good way to sum up what I was talking about with, them not having the light at the end of the tunnel. There are 29 teams that are either in the playoffs, play-in, or in the draft lottery, all except for the Suns. Now, that can change with a Kevin Durant trade. You can work your way into a lottery draft spot, obviously. But, and it's so funny in hindsight to be like, damn, Coach Frank Vogel wasn't that bad, huh? At least he got us to the playoffs, damn it. So, yeah, I don't know what happens next for the Phoenix Suns. and I guess we have to wait and